Ladies and gentlemen, decarbonization is no longer a peripheral issue of shipping. It is not an ESG appendix. It is not a branding exercise. It is a structural transformation of our industry. And if we approach it carelessly or superficially, we risk undermining not only competitiveness, but our credibility. The destination is clear: net zero. The direction of travel is clear: lower emissions, cleaner fuels, greater transparency. What remains uncertain and what demands serious discussion is how we move from ambition to action without distorting markets, compromising safety, or investing prematurely in pathways that cannot scale. Because shipping does not operate in theory. It operates under the laws of physics. It operates at global scale. And it operates with assets that last 20 to 30 years. That combination demands discipline. Shipping moves approximately 90% of global trade. That statistic is often repeated, but rarely examined for what it actually implies. It implies that any decarbonization pathway must work not for a pilot project or a coastal ferry, but for tens of thousands of vessels trading across every ocean. It implies that fuels must be available not only in Houston, Singapore, Rotterdam, and Shanghai, but in remote areas and in ports like Walvis Bay, Takoradi, Matarani, and Caldera, consistently and safely. We are not transitioning a niche industry. We are attempting to re-engineer the energy foundation of global trade. And that is not a slogan. That is an industrial transformation. There is a growing tendency, particularly outside our industry, to treat fuel switching as a straightforward decision. Oil bad, alternative fuels good. Replace A with B, problem solved. But decarbonization in shipping is not a binary choice. It is a systems challenge. We must evaluate fuels on a life cycle basis, well to wake, not merely tank to wake. Methane slip matters. Upstream leakage matters. Energy density matters. Safety matters. If you reduce carbon dioxide at the stack, but increase warming effects elsewhere in the chain, have we truly advanced? If we mandate fuels that cannot be produced at scale for decades, have we accelerated the transition or merely created regulatory uncertainty? The industry must resist the temptation of easy narratives. The narrative most frequently cited is that green hydrogen and its derivatives, green ammonia and methanol, will solve our emissions problem. Well, that is not supported by science. Hydrogen is a potent greenhouse gas that readily escapes to the atmosphere, and leakage may significantly increase net warming. Most serious studies show that these fuels will never exist in meaningful quantities. Replacing shipping's fossil fuels with green ammonia or methanol would require renewable electricity comparable to today's entire global renewable output, leaving nothing for homes, nothing for industry, electric vehicles, or data centers. And unlike using electricity to power a grid or charge an electric vehicle, where roughly 95% produces useful work, burning liquid fuels in an internal combustion engine converts only to about 30% of input energy into thrust. The rest is wasted. This is precisely why researchers urge that renewable electricity should be used directly and not converted into e-fuels. Our industry does not operate in a bubble. A ton of greenhouse gas emitted over the Atlantic pollutes as much as a ton emitted in North America. A ton saved aboard a deep-sea vessel counts as much as a ton saved ashore. But if that saving costs 3 times more at sea than on land, we must ask, are we directing our limited resources where they matter most? That question becomes urgent when we consider using scarce green electricity to produce fuels with only 30% energy conversion efficiency. The current trajectory under the net zero framework proposal would see ships paying enormous penalties while continuing to burn only fossil fuels practically available. Or gray and blue ammonia and methanol derived from natural gas, which carry a worse carbon footprint than diesel. In this respect, the pause achieved last October is meaningful. It creates space to re-examine the hydrogen narrative while genuinely promising technologies continue to matter. 2 areas hold real promise. The first is battery technology. We recently saw the announcement of the world's largest all-electric container ship, a 740 TEU feeder powered by 19 megawatt of batteries, enabling fast swaps in port and supporting routes of up to 1,000 kilometers, a range that will grow as energy density improves. The second, and in my view more transformative, is the development of 4-generator small modular reactors, particularly thorium molten salt reactors. Nuclear power offers the reliable, high-density, clean energy that shipping requires. The explosion of AI and data center demand is accelerating nuclear innovation, creating the supply chains, regulatory frameworks, and investment appetite that maritime could directly benefit from. The convergence is not coincidental. Both sectors require continuous, dense, weather-independent, clean power. Modular nuclear, once a niche proposition, has entered strategic competition across industries and nations. I would also flag carbon capture and storage as a technology that warrants caution. The recent captured project by the Global Center for Maritime Decarbonization offered a sobering reality check. While capturing CO2 on board is technically feasible, the real challenges lie downstream in storage, recycling, and utilization. When a full life cycle analysis was applied, the results were marginal at best. Here, too, the distance from ambition to reality proved considerable. In any event, until these technologies reach commercial viability, the most credible path forward lies in maximizing what we can achieve today. Shipping has improved its carbon intensity significantly since 2008, but operational efficiency remains the most underappreciated level in this transition. Voyage optimization, speed management, hull and propeller upgrades, digital performance monitoring, wind-assisted propulsion, and port call optimization to eliminate waiting time. These measures deliver measurable reductions now, reduce fuel costs, and enhance competitiveness without depending on supply chains that do not yet exist. Efficiency is not a marginal improvement. It is the bridge between ambition and realism. On alternative fuels, we must be honest about trade-offs. Ammonia introduces toxicity and safety risks. Hydrogen poses storage and leakage challenges. Methanol requires careful handling and production clarity. Biofuels raise feedstock sustainability concerns. This is not an argument against these fuels. It is an argument for sequencing, rigor, and coordination. We must also be direct about incentives. Ship owners are ordering vessels today based on fuel pathways that may not prove viable in 10 years. Charterers demand lower emissions, but rarely pay for them in freight markets that reward lower cost. Financiers seek ESG alignment, but require regulatory predictability. Ports are asked to invest in infrastructure without guaranteed demand. So if we do not align incentives across the value chain, we create a first-mover penalty. And if first movers are penalized, capital will hesitate. Decarbonization cannot rely on moral persuasion alone. It must be grounded in science and supported by economic alliance. Safety throughout all of this remains non-negotiable. New fuels bring new operational hazards. Our seafarers will handle them daily. Regulatory timelines must not outpace safety frameworks, and investment in crew training must match investment in new engines. A zero-carbon vessel that compromises safety is not progress. The work of the MEPC must never overshadow that of the MSC. From ambition to action requires global regulatory alignment under the IMO, financial structures that reward verified performance, and unwavering commitment to safety. Shipping has reinvented itself before, from sail to steam, from coal to oil, from paper charts to digital navigation. Decarbonization is another such transformation, but this one demands operational leadership, not unrealistic slogans without structure, not regulation without scalability, not aspiration without accountability. From ambition to action, from declaration to delivery, from narrative to measurable impacts. I would like to close by thanking the organizers of this summit for the opportunity to speak, and all of you for your attention. Thank you.